What sort of a leader are you? I ask that question because it takes all sorts, right? But I want to introduce you a model that might make you think about it just a little bit differently. When I think of leadership, when I think of the impact that we have on people, I think you can form one of three types. You could be an input person, right? Somebody who focuses on the tasks, the processes, the data behind something, the knowledge sharing, all the things that go into making something happen. Are you an input person? Or are you an output person? Somebody who focuses on the behaviour that happens, or the journey that's built, or the result that might happen. Where do you focus? Are you an output focused person? I want to give you a third place to think about, which is where I think the real difference can be made. Are you an outcome-focused person? And what does that mean? Well, it means after all the inputs and the outputs, this person remains focused on what the impact of those things are. How does it leave somebody feeling? How does that conversation with an employee leave them feeling? How does that interaction with a guest leave them feeling? How does that interaction with a customer leave them feeling? Imagine if you designed your experiences the outcome in mind, rather than just the process, rather than just the result. Take a simple table check-in or check-back in a restaurant. Why do we do the table check? Well, in a lot of places, we just need to do that, it's part of the journey. In a lot of places we do it, have they got the right food? Can I move the kitchen onto the next part of service? What about the outcome of that? How we make customers feel. Are they happy? Do they need anything else? Really, do they need anything else? How many times have you had a table check back where someone comes all bright and breezy to the table and says, "Hi, is everything okay?" And you say, "No." And they go, "Thank you very much," and walk away. They're not prepared for that, right? They're going through the motions of doing the check back. Think about the outcome. Think about how you want someone to feel and design the processes, the inputs and the actions and the behaviours that you want to see to deliver that outcome. Let me give you an example of where I've seen that in the real world. When I had my time in bingo, I spent a lot of time watching all the employees in these big bingo halls do what they do. And when I spoke to them about what they did, a lot of them would be very, very functional in telling me what they did. You know, "Andy, I shovel chips, and boy, did we sell a lot of chips." Or, "I give out change for the halftime bingo or for the machines." And all they ever really saw was the tiny little functional bits of process or input that they did. Occasionally people would say, "Oh, you know, I sell stuff because we know how to make a load of money." Most of the time though, it's all the functional stuff. But here's the thing. When you watch these guys in a bingo club working with customers who are there maybe 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes 3 or 4 hours at a time, when you really watch what they're doing, they are connecting people who wouldn't necessarily know each other or speak to each other. They're making friendships all over the club. And think about the demographic in the bingo club. Very often, this is the only social interaction that people will have in that club. They're not being processed. They're not just being served. All the employees were wandering around making little connections, banishing loneliness, creating friendships. Now here's the cracking thing that happened. When you sit down and you talk to those employees about what you see and what they're actually doing, you see a transformation take place. They haven't thought of it like this. They haven't thought about that outcome that they're doing. You know, banishing loneliness, making friendships, really giving people a reason to be happy. But when you sit down and talk to them about it, all of a sudden they sit a little higher in their chair. Their shoulders go back, their chest puffs out. And the next time they're walking the floor, they're kind of skipping on air, consciously building relationships, consciously making connections, being more intentional in their actions. By focusing on an outcome, in this case, making connections, bringing customers together. We created a completely different customer journey just by focusing on the outcome rather than the inputs and the outputs. What could focusing on the outcome do for your business experience or your business as a whole? Just think about that for a sec.